Chase is on the chase.
That was an old nickname.
I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, today we begin a new semester talking about bottom half guard. And what is bottom half guard? So what is bottom half guard, right? Bottom half guard is a weird sort of paradoxical position because bottom half guard is simultaneously one of the strongest sweeping positions in all of jiu-jitsu and also one of the most stifling positions in all of jiu-jitsu, i.e., you ask people who like to pass guard, you're like, I'm telling you, if you ask people who like to pass, you're like, what's your favorite guard to pass from? Half guard. Almost every time. They're like, dude, if I can get that leg and I can get their head, I'm good. You ask people what position they like to sweep from, guard players, you know what you're going to hear a lot? Half guard. Half guard. So why is that the case? How is that possible? Chris, how is it possible that it could both be an excellent sweeping position and also an excellent passing and pinning position, right? And there's a lot of facets to this, but we're going to simplify this down because this is fundamentals. These are the basics, the building blocks. That's my pantomime for building blocks. Okay? These are the building blocks. And really, I would say what it comes down to, the most important dynamic of the half guard to understand is that if we imagine what it is that's going on here is that I have isolated one side of my opponent's body. Now that goes for the top person or the bottom person, right? So, for example, say we're in half. Let me get a half guard. Okay? What I have done, so just freeze here for a moment, is I have controlled one half of his body. That's why it's called half guard, not like 1/3 guard. It's a weird measurement. I don't know how that will work out. Maybe it'd be like right below the knee or something. Yeah. I have isolated one half of his body, which as we start going forward into some of the offensive aspects, this is what's going to really govern my ability, because this gives me two things. Number one, by isolating one half of his body, this gives me the ability to get outside of this center line, right? Furthermore, this gives me the ability to recreate the center line, i.e. right now the center line would be essentially the space between his two legs, like kind of where our legs meet. But if I were to, say, theoretically get underneath his hips, I could turn the center line to behind him at any time. Does that make sense? Like I could open it up. However, he has control of one side as well, right? So if I drift into the haunted forest of this half of the half guard, and he grabs a hold of my head, let's say standard head control, like with your left hand smash my face, right? Well, now all of a sudden, good hope be really mean. Just roll it. Just one moment. You think very stifling. You hear my struggle sounds? They're awesome, right? So I have control of one half of this fight, and he kind of has control of the other half of this fight. Okay? So what does this mean? Well, what this means is, I would go so far as to argue that the most important principle that I must adhere to when I am underneath in half guard is I cannot hang out past the center line. That's not to say that when we get into more intermediate and advanced jiu-jitsu, there aren't ways that we can do that, but that's where you start getting into deep half guard territory, basically. Really what starts to happen is your guard becomes less of a left and right and more of a circle, like a flat disc, but we're not getting to that for now. What I am getting to is that what I must be mindful of is that, just so you put your weight on my shoulder, please, is that if my head is, so just hang here for just a second, if my head is closer to his shoulder than his is, right, meaning like if I cross the center line and my head starts drifting closer to the shoulder, guys, I don't care how on your side you are, like you could get all the good on the side that you can, pay for. All the good, my shoulder's tucked, all this stuff. If this person puts his sternum in front of my shoulder, rather than going over, I want you to drift your hips backward. Yep, and then push straight front like, ugh. Very difficult to stop someone from pushing you over here. Again, all the way on my side, but if he puts his sternum in front of the shoulder and smashes, it's very easy for him to crush. Okay? So the first thing I must understand is that this is the place, like past this line is where I am engaged, right? Does that make sense, guys? We have something to our advantage, though, right? Is that we talked about this principle recently, and in this Friday class, actually, as a matter of fact, when we were doing side control escapes, and this is going to be prevalent because half guard is kind of like side control-ish with a leg, is pressure is not omnidirectional. Meaning, if he puts his weight down, what that does is prevent me from coming upward, right? Because his weight's going down. We're going to put that weight down. But what that doesn't really prevent me from doing is going laterally. For him to prevent me from going laterally, he would need pressure laterally, right? Does that make sense, guys? It's basic common sense. If his pressure's down, it's not lateral. If his pressure's lateral, it's not down. So what we are going to try to accomplish is twofold. One, we are going to try to accomplish getting on our side, and two, we are going to try to accomplish getting our head on this side of the center line. We're trying to hang out. This is our territory, okay? Right? This is our street corner. If we go over here in this street corner, we're going to start a gang war. It's all the whole thing. So I don't go over here. I don't hang out in this neighborhood. This is my neighborhood. So I've regarded the half guard, right? Maybe I've ended up here. At very least, guys, you should be able to just get, like, let's say you're just putting weight on me, and right, you're trying to grab my head and stuff. I should be able to just get my hands on his elbows. This is not that hard to accomplish, right? If I can recover guard. What I want to think about doing, guys, and I'll show this from a couple different angles, is I'm hooking with the inside leg. Let's say I was flat on my back, actually. Let's start from here. So we put right down here. The first thing I must do is get on my side. I'm going to plant this foot, pivot my hip, and then the big key here, guys, is pivot my hip. So in this case, it would be my right hip under my left hip, and then I want to drag my right shoulder under my left shoulder. Okay, and I'll show this in a second. I want this shoulder to be farther behind me than the top shoulder. So he's got his weight down on me. I'm just turning, I'm dragging the shoulder backward. Okay, from here you guys see my poster on his elbow, right? I'm going to elongate my back like I'm trying to make the back of my head touch my heels. And I lock a figure 4, and now I'm here. Now put weight on me, please. Now he's not really crushing me. He's like, it kind of doesn't feel like that's stable, right? Like, he tries to flatten me out. The more, and you see, like, he has to kind of like drift over me, which is going to be advantageous for us as we, right, he has to start crossing over. He has to start going into my territory to even make anything to start to happen. Now, let me get you off for just a moment. I want to make a quick note about this. So, invisible opponent, I was here. Let's say I started flat. Okay, I'm tucked. Tuck the hip, guys. So, here, this is Tom, this is not a shrimp, okay? This is not a shrimp. Please, people, when you're here, do not do this. That is not what is happening here, okay? It is not what is happening here. All I am doing is I'm taking this hip, putting it there. From here, I have him to press off of. He's pressuring into me, so I can use that resistance to drag this shoulder behind me, okay? Very important principle. Mike, can I get you to just stand in front of me right here? Okay. If I sit with my right shoulder, so the top shoulder farther behind me than my left shoulder, you guys see this alignment where I'm kind of a ramp going this way? Do me a favor, put your 2 hands on my shoulder, push me over. Son of a bitch. Boom, easy, okay? Go back. If I put my left shoulder behind my right shoulder, push me over, please. This is going to push me away. Because now I'm a ramp going this way. Does that make sense, guys? Do you see that way?
No.
So, all we're going to start with, we're in half guard. Let's just say he's got his weight on me. I'm flattened out, but I just have my hands like, guys, actually, let me get you up in just 1 second. Just this. That's all I need. Just like, please, don't take my jewels, you know? Right? So he's got his weight on me. I'm here. Turn the hips, drag the shoulder back. From here, I'm walking myself backward, and then I can lock a figure 4 if I feel so inclined. My 2 hands are posting on the elbow. My elbow, let's actually rotate so our heads are facing kind of the group. Yeah. I can also kind of wedge this elbow against his chest so if like you're smashing into me. It's like I can kind of just pressure against him a little bit here. Just, like, just have an added tool. So I want you guys to play around with just getting to this place, and I want you guys to play around with, I should be able to see his temple here. Okay? If my head is on that side, so if like if I go back here, just demonstrate on my side, smash me over, please, 100%. Son of a bitch. We go back. Smash me over, please. Right? If you ask Mike, I'm very like rigid. It's very hard for him to collapse anything. This is a very strong framing mechanism. Okay? Does that make sense, everyone? Excellent. So we'll partner up. I want you guys to first off get a feeling for being across that center line and getting flattened, and then do the work and let your partner try to smush you. See how that feels. Remember, bottom shoulder farther behind you than top shoulder. Elongate. Maintain that frame. Make sense, y'all? Excellent. Let's start up. 1, 2, 3.